People of Earth, we come in peace.
Welcome to this neighborhood, neighbor.
I am the Martian ambassador.
Des Moines and all of central Iowa, welcome to Mac's World Live. Mac's World is your world. Every day we talk about the issues and topics that matter most to you. And as always, it's your voice we want to hear in Mac's World. So join the conversation by calling 515-244-0077. And now, here's the host of Mac's World Live, J. Michael McCoy.
Good afternoon. This is Chris Roloff filling in for J. Michael McCoy. It's 3:07 on a Friday. It's Earth Day. It's April 22nd. So go out and hug the earth. I don't know what you're supposed to. I don't know what you're supposed to do on Earth Day, but it is in fact Earth Day. So do that.
Most of the people who started Earth Day are usually worshiping the earth today.
Oh, that would be
instead
silly.
of worshiping.
That would be silly.
Instead of worshiping the gift
creator.
giver,
Why
the
would you do
creator,
that?
they're worshiping the gift.
That seems silly.
Yes.
All right, so let me go around the room. I'm Chris Roloff. Mac is not here, but this is still Mac's World. It didn't stop being Mac's World just because he's not here, because as Mac often reminds us, this show is really about you. It's your voice we want to hear. This is the place where we can talk about all these things. I pontificate, Mac pontificates, Frank pontificates. Bob?
I don't.
Bob does not. Jeb's not allowed to yet. He hasn't earned enough gold stars. Jeb is our producer, but he does have a mic so he can say things.
Yeah, I'm working on it. One day I will be able to, and hopefully we'll get to it.
Look at that. See? He did that just fine, didn't he? He will be bloviating soon on the radio. Bob is watching the chat. Bob Montserrat, Cat in the Hat, watches the chat and the Service Legends text line, 515-809-0993. You can send us a text there. Bob will get it on the air or at very least respond to you.
Yes. Someone texted in and said, no nuts for roll-off.
No nuts for roll-off. Is that Mac?
I don't know.
Is it?
It may be.
Is it 6292 or whatever? Yeah, it's probably Mac. See, there are peanuts, Megan. There's a big can of Planters peanuts behind that chair, and
sometimes Chris has been known.
I like to eat them.
Just before going on air to be having a mouthful, trying to chew them real quickly before the mic gets turned on.
It's kind of a no-no, isn't it?
Yeah, you're not supposed to do that. I'm also chewing gum. Like
Did you bring enough for everyone?
I did. Would everybody like gum? Then we can all be violating the first law of thermodynamics. Wait, what? Broadcasting.
The first law of radio: don't chew on the air.
There you go.
And that lovely voice is Frank, wearing purple in honor of the passing of Prince. As I declare. No, you're not? No?
No, I
you don't care that
gum.
Prince died? You don't care that Prince died?
On the Queen's birthday, no less, from what I understand.
Yes, right.
Kind of ironic, right?
It is.
He was a talented lad, but he wasn't my cup of tea.
Well, there you go.
Well, who is your cup of tea? You're a Zeppelin guy.
Yeah, I'm Zeppelin guy.
Or Led Zeppelin guy.
Floyd.
Our guest this hour is Megan. And Megan, you're going to say your last name for me.
Jaques.
Jaques.
Yes.
Now,
good job.
I try to just repeat what I hear. So I'm going to call you Megan for the remainder of the show because I think I can say that.
I'll respond to Megan.
Very good, Megan. You are with Young Lives.
Yeah.
That is your organization. We're going to learn about Young Lives in just a minute, what you do there. I wanted to bring up something that I thought was funny in the news. I had promoed that we were going to see how many French fries I could eat today.
That's true.
In Mac's absence. But Frank, in his infinite wisdom, pointed out that makes really boring radio.
Bad radio.
I'm noticing a theme here.
One French fry. I like eating.
That would be the theme.
You can tell by my size.
He's just north of 200, so just
north.
Not so bad.
Just north of 200. They finally make scales that go that high. I didn't even know that they did that. But speaking of French fries, and the reason why we were joking about that, Bob, was because French fries at McDonald's were considering maybe going all you can eat. Right?
Yes, they're doing a test somewhere in one of the states.
They're not doing it in Des Moines where they should be.
No, they're not. They have another one, and they were doing all you can eat fries because people love their fries and sales are down.
Well, back in the day when McDonald's was the French fry king, that would be a great offer. Not so much anymore.
I just thought about something. You remember one of the last times I filled in for Mac? We spent the entire first segment talking about the McRib.
The McRib.
Oh, yeah. It had come back.
McDonald's pay for a segment today,
Yeah,
or what?
apparently they don't give us any money, Megan. But they are in the news. This is an odd news story. In Arkansas, an Arkansas teenager faces a felony robbery charge after he allegedly put soda in a water cup at McDonald's and refused to give the soda back. Now, I have to confess, when I go to the fast food place, and if I'm trying to pretend like I'm going to be healthy, I say, I'll have some water. And then they give you the cup, and you're supposed to walk over to the soda machine and ignore all the wonderful soda and just get water. That just seems mean. They shouldn't make you go over there. That's temptation,
But
right?
the soda
They're putting us in temptation at that point.
The water dispenser is always attached to one of the usually punch drinks or something. So you have to actually go up to the soda dispenser.
You do, yeah.
And click that button, but there's another button you're supposed to click, but a lot of people click that
Kind
one.
of in the world, but not of it, right?
That's right. This is the struggle. The struggle is real, Megan. Well, for this young 18-year-old, his name is Cody Morris. Officials say that Morris and two of his friends ordered 3 waters in the drive-thru at McDonald's in Arkansas. Then they went into the restaurant, dumped out the water, and refilled their cups with soda. This is like malicious intent at this point. Now, to your point, Frank, I've never done this, but I'm admitting that I have been tempted. Yeah. But now that I know that's a felony charge, I don't think it's worth it. But anyway, so let me continue the story. So it got more interesting. They went in with their water cups, dumped out the water, filled it up with soda. Then the McDonald's manager told them to return the soda. Officials say that 2 of the 3 teens did so, but Morris did not. The McDonald's manager tried to stop the teens from leaving the restaurant, but says they struck him with their car and drove away. This got nasty. Police officers eventually caught up to the teens and arrested Morris, who they said was driving the getaway vehicle. Morris was taken to jail and charged with felony robbery. A hearing has been scheduled for today.
And generally, those glasses are clear.
Yes.
So the only way you can even remotely try to get away with it is if you get a Sprite. It would be silly to get a dark-colored cola or an orange drink.
Are you teaching us how to violate the law?
Yes, I'm not teaching you to steal, but if you want to know how, here's how you do it.
Well, if you want to rob.
That's what my grandpa used to say. Now, I'm not going to do it, but if you want to know how to do it, here's how to do it, boy.
Here's how to do it. That's
Kind of like
funny.
Mythbusters.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. Scientific research. We should see if the local we should all today test and see if we should not. Go to all the McDonald's, don't do this. And get the water cups and go to the soda machine and get a Dr. Pepper or a Coke or a Pepsi they don't do Pepsi at McDonald's, so Coke and see what happens.
Okay, Mr. Subliminal.
Don't do it.
Maybe we'll take the webcam and just watch you do it.
That's right. We should, yeah. We should do the cell phone. I should do it on the
How about we do a
Periscope.
live remote from McDonald's?
There you go. We should.
Then we can do our broadcast right
and see what happens.
We see how many
from
people
there.
do that.
I wonder if, in all seriousness, though, I don't think this would have gotten so bad had he not run away and hit the guy with a car. This kind of escalated, it seems like. Yeah. So anyway, just a little bit. Well, Megan, you are our guest today. You are with Young Lives. Mm-hmm. Let me start by asking you. Welcome to the show, by the way.
Thanks.
You've done great already, chiming in,
Thank you.
Experiencing the chaos that is Mac's World.
I have 3 kids. So
see, this is exactly
she said she had more off camera.
I do. I have 3.5. I'm actually 20 weeks pregnant with number 4.
Awesome.
We're crazy. We're those crazy people.
Now, tell me about yourself. Are you an Iowa gal?
I am.
You are.
Yeah.
Des Moines?
Des Moines. Yep. Not born and raised here. Definitely a transplant. Married a really tall guy from Des Moines.
Do we tend to breed them tall in Des Moines?
Not this. He's 6'10".
Wow, that is tall.
Yeah, he's a little above average.
Frank, you're what?
6'2" in shoes.
6'2" in shoes.
6'1" barefooted.
Nice.
We're gonna get technical. He's 6'9"3/4.
That's right.
Barefoot. So,
Barefoot.
there you go.
So you got married here. Did you go to college?
I have 2 years from a community college.
Awesome. More than me.
Yeah. Well, there you go. I grew up in Northwest Iowa, Spencer area. Moved to New Orleans right out of high school.
Really?
Lived in the projects in New Orleans. And I got to tell you guys, I would move back in a heartbeat.
Really?
I loved it.
How long did you do that?
I was there for a year, taught in an inner city reading program. Urban Impact was the name of the organization. And really just fell in love with, gosh, I don't even know what to call it. It was just social work. Let's call it social work,
Sure.
for lack of a better word.
Was this a Christian ministry or was this just
It is.
Okay.
Yep. Came back, got married, started having kids. And then 3 years ago, my best friend, Clarissa Brooks, actually started Young Lives here in Des Moines.
Okay.
And we've been going ever since.
So 3 years you guys have been doing Young Lives. Now, you said Clarissa started this. Was this her brainchild?
Nope. Young Lives is an arm of Young Life, which is a national organization. Started in 1941 with the goal of reaching high school students for Christ who may not otherwise be reached. They're not going to go to a church youth group. They're not going to go to a Bible study. They probably aren't going to go to church. But they will go to somebody's house and have a party and do some music and games and listen to somebody else talk about Jesus.
It's a very cool thing. I had a lot of friends who were involved in Young Life when I was in high school, and it's a fascinating thing. I was telling the guys before you came in, when I'm not an official here, the way I describe Young Life is Young Life takes the sort of youth group experience that we have at church and puts it in the community, puts it at the public school so that non-church kids can participate in sort of that fun youth group activity. I have a memory of being at a Young Life meeting where we met actually in a garage. It was kind of a renovated garage in Texas. And one of the things they did, I filled in playing drums for the band that night. And one of the games they played was a race. They had pizza at night. They were going to have pizza was going to be the food, but they ordered pizza from three different places at the same time.
And had a race.
And had a race
they
to
just
see
did
who
that
would
at
get.
Young Life a couple weeks ago.
It was really cool because the pizza delivery guy shows up.
And he has no idea.
He has no idea, and he gets this award. They had awards. You were third place. You got, whatever you got there, and that's really cool. So taking sort of the youth group fun out to the community is what Young Life does, but you're with Young Lives. We're going to talk about how that started, how that grew here in Des Moines when we get back. You're listening to The Truth, 99.3 FM. Chris Roloff filling in for J. Michael McCoy. We'll be right back.
Credit cards are like grandkids. They love you, sometimes get out of control, and it's fun to get a new one. Who can stop them from piling on?
Hi, I'm Tom Coates with Consumer Credit of Des Moines. At the end of the day, you can return the grandkids, but you're stuck paying off bad credit card debt. We'll help you put the fun back into using credit cards responsibly. Right, kids?
Yeah!
If you need help getting credit cards off your back, call Consumer Credit of Des Moines.
Hi, my name is David Burrier, your Hope Coach. I host a live weekly talk show called I've Been There every Thursday afternoon at 5:30, right here on webcast1live.com, and on my weekly radio program Saturday mornings at 10 on Truth Network 99.3 FM. I interview common everyday people who have survived incredible life challenges and who testify to God's faithfulness in the midst of their storms. So join me as we bring a message of hope and encouragement. Everybody needs hope. I know, because I've been there.
Hey everybody, I brought Northern Lights Pizza! And it's got Graziano sausage!
Rock and Prevention is celebrating 25 years of creating a caring community. We want to say thank you to the tens of thousands of Rock High School mentors that have carried our message of health, love, and encouragement to over 1.5 million children, teachers, and parents. Our mentors teach children methods and skills to prevent bullying and drug use. Thank you to all the school administrators, teachers, and counselors for their opportunity to serve you. Rock on, fair citizens, rock on. This is Pat McManus for Rock and Prevention, the Richard O. Jacobson Foundation, and this station.
From the RE/MAX Real Estate Concept Studios, this is Webcast One Live.
So it's Hey boys, your mics are on. It's Friday and we're having a whole lot of fun. It's 4:21 in the afternoon, and I'm excited for the weekend, just like Rebecca Black is, and we're going to have fun. And that song is so terrible, and I've listened to it so many times now that I like it. You know how a really bad song can just, and like, wait, I need to hear the really terrible song because it makes me feel better. Mm-hmm. I'm Chris Roloff filling in for J. Michael McCoy. This is Max World Live. It's your voice we want to hear. You can always call us at 515-244-0077, or you can send us a text at the Service Legends Truth text line, 515-809-0993. Normal cast of characters are here, minus some guy who tends to do most of the talking, which is Mac. He's not here. Bob Mazzarette's watching the chat and the text line. Frank is here. Jeb is producing, and our special guest today is Megan. She is with Young Lives. We're going to get back to you again, but these guys to my over here, they're trying to get my attention, and so hang on just a minute.
Do you know why there's such lousy songs in the world?
Why are there such lousy songs in the world?
So you'll know a good one when you hear it.
Oh, well, there you go. There you go. Hey, we're going to go to the phones. I'm not sure, but Victor has something to say. Victor, what do you say here in Max World?
Hi, boys and girls. This is Ronald McDonald. How are you?
Do you have any French fries for us, Ronald?
I do. Plus, I'd like to ask you why you're encouraging your listeners to come to my restaurants and steal my pop.
Oh, I would never do that, Ronald. That would be terrible.
You mean what I heard on the radio wasn't real?
No, I think it was all a figment of your imagination, Ronald.
Okay, boys and girls. Thanks for coming around. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Well,
Scary clown.
That was not Victor. That was a very scary clown. That was actually probably the best impression of Krusty the Clown I've ever heard.
I think so, Krusty.
Yeah. That was fantastic. Well, thank you. Yes, please do not steal from Ronald McDonald House. But I'm just saying, isn't that funny? You know, what we're talking about is a young teenager an 18-year-old. An 18-year-old.
Old enough to know better.
Old enough to know better is being charged felon robbery. What is it? A felony robbery. That doesn't sound right. Anyway, charged with felony robbery for stealing soda at a McDonald's. So don't do that. But it's tempting is the point. When they give you the water cup and they send you over to the Great Wall of Temptation, you have to fight the temptation. You have to say no.
You know, they got cameras everywhere.
They do.
And they can, see you, committing a crime and have evidence.
Especially when you try to run somebody over with your car.
I think that's when things get bad.
Yeah,
that was
never a good choice.
This escalated from being dumb to being bad. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? I think
dumber.
This manager would have been just fine with you pouring out the soda, just saying, "Hey guys, don't do that." You know what I mean? But this Morris kid decided to be ornery about it. Now, Megan, you work for an organization called Young Lives, and you don't deal with any ornery teenagers, do you?
Oh, no, never.
All good kids.
Always.
All good kids.
100%.
You were telling us before the break that Young Life, which is kind of is it the parent organization of Young Lives? Tell us again what Young Life is and what you guys do.
Yep. So Young Life is an organization that was started in 1941 with the goal of bringing Christ to kids who might not otherwise hear about him. They're not going to go to youth group. They're not going to go to church. They're probably not going to go to a Bible study. But they will go to somebody else's house and have pizza and listen to loud music. And, oh, by the way, hey, can we just talk about Jesus here and love on you and live life with you? And then take kids to camp. Young Life is famous for their camps. Best week of your life. I've been there. It's incredible. It is absolutely amazing. The word lavish is not strong enough, the way they lavish their love on the people who come to camp. And then Young Lives grew out of that about 25 years ago when they realized that there really was a need to engage teen moms. It's definitely a demographic that's growing in our nation. And sometimes those girls get a really bad rap. They become the pariah of society. And the reality is they just want to be good moms just like the rest of us.
Where you mentioned Young Life, are there how many high schools have Young Life here in the Des Moines metro?
So Young Life, like I said, was started here in Des Moines, about 5 years ago.
Okay.
And right now the focus is on Waukee. Okay. So we are in Waukee. We had some turnover, and we have a new area director. John Ritchie's been here since September. Came from Bahrain, which is kind of a cool thing. But he
is that in Iowa?
It is not.
It's not. Bahrain is not in Iowa.
It's not. It's kind of a cool thing. He was with Young Life Military overseas.
Wow.
And he and his wife were in Germany, and they were in Bahrain, and now they're in Des Moines. I'm not kind of a non sequitur there, but
right.
Yeah. But as far as I know, they're loving it. They are in the Waukee school system right now. We have a couple kids coming from Roosevelt, which is really cool. That's my neighborhood. Love that area. And so the goal is to expand into Roosevelt and eventually all the way over to East and North. And yeah, it's going to be great. So most of our girls come from East, North, Scavo, Roosevelt, that area.
Okay. Why did you get involved? How did you, Megan, come to be involved in this? Were you were with Young Life when Young Life started?
I had never even heard of Young Life.
Wow. Okay.
So I just have a real passion for young moms in general. I'm not as young a mom as I used to be, but I have 3 kids, as I mentioned before, and loved my time in New Orleans. And this was a really good melding of both of those 2 passions. And I have a real passion for poverty, not necessarily fighting poverty, because I think the Bible's pretty clear that poverty is just something that's going to be there forever. We're never going to fix that problem. We're not called to. We're called to engage. We're called to build relationship and not be afraid of that.
Did Nancy Pelosi get the memo on that?
I don't know that I ever sent her a memo.
Oh, okay.
I probably should, but I haven't yet.
There'll always be poor among us.
Exactly.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Frank, do you know Nancy Pelosi's email that we could send her?
Well, no.
No, you don't?
I'd like to.
I'll just make one up. NancyPelosi@gmail.com. It's
probably somebody.
Somebody has that, no doubt.
Yes.
And they will then respond and pretend to be Nancy Pelosi. Don't do that. See, if I say that again, Ronald McDonald is going to call up and tell me not to.
This is Nancy Pelosi.
It might be kind of entertaining.
It might be. Ronald, you're welcome in Mac's World anytime.
Anytime
you're welcome. We miss you. So in our last hour, Megan, we were talking about in the church community for sure, and in conservative talk radio, abortion just doesn't seem to be a topic that just doesn't go away. If the ratings are low and people are bored, they just say, "Let's talk about abortion today,"
right,
so that we can at least get hot and bothered about something. So it's a big topic, and I think Pastor Michael Damascus was here last hour, and he said something that I agree with, and that the church, well, he quoted Francis Schaeffer, and I can't get this quote right, but he basically said the local abortion clinic is there by permission of the local church, and meaning that the church, the church in the area and the community has failed to minister to people in situations when they find themselves in need of an abortion. And I got in a lot of trouble for saying that phrase once before, because a lot of people come out of the woodwork and say there's never a need for an abortion. And I would agree that we should never, that abortions are a bad idea 100% of the time.
Right.
But that language is the language of the person in the situation. They find themselves in need of an abortion. And by and large, what the church then says is, well, you can't do that. So you must not do that. You can't have an abortion. And that tends to be where the conversation ends. And so now you've got teenage moms that are pregnant, and they're faced with hard decision number 1 and hard decision number 2, and they don't know what to choose. And I think this is where Young Lives steps in and says, hey, this is a difficult thing to have your world changed by being pregnant when you weren't expecting to at a very young age. And so what happens when you guys come in contact with a young gal in this situation?
Yeah, I love that you led with the abortion clinic discussion. Oftentimes these girls are the girls who, we've got Christians picketing abortion clinics and saying, don't do this, so they don't do it. And then, 9 months later, they have a baby because that's what it is.
Right.
And the church goes, well, how irresponsible of you. What were you thinking? Don't you know how this works? It's the same girl that you were loving on 8 months ago when you were trying to save her baby, but her baby's life is more important than her life. And now that her baby's born, it's, so don't get me started.
I would love to.
Too late. You already did.
welcome to Max World, Megan. Welcome to Max World, Megan. Hey, if you want to join the conversation, you can at 515-244-0077. You got questions? I asked in last hour, what would happen? What would you do if your daughter comes home from school and she says, "Mom, I can't hide it anymore. I'm pregnant"? How would you respond? We'd love to hear from you at 515-244-0077, or you can send us a text to the Service Legends Truth text line, 515-809-0993. Bob, we got any new text recently?
No, sir.
Frank's
I got a question.
wagging the finger. What's up,
I got a question for Megan. Now, you counsel potentially girls who are pregnant and are going to have a child that maybe there's another option besides abortion.
Absolutely.
The government or the secular community would feel that that's placing an undue burden on a girl who's already, her life's already frazzled and she's already upset. And then you're coming in there and you're preaching to her about what she should do or what she shouldn't do with that child. How does these, I mean, do you encounter that? Do the women you counsel, do they welcome that counseling? Do they kind of shun you? I mean, what responses do you normally get, and what do you think of that position by the secular people in the world that thinks that that's putting a burden on a woman?
Yep. Most of the girls that we have met so far have already decided to keep their babies, and that's why they're coming to us. And they really just want to be good moms, and a lot of them have come out of situations where maybe they don't have that example to fall back on. They don't know what it looks like to be a good mom. And so we get to walk with them and to help them figure out what that looks like. We do love and logic classes. We do nutrition classes. We take them to camp in the summer. They have a mentor if they would like a mentor, and that mentor commits to living life with this girl, not fixing all her problems. That's not what our job is. Our job is to love these girls and to be in relationship with them and to be there when it gets hard, because being a mom is hard at any age.
And you said something key about nutrition, and I'm really a proponent of prenatal care. The health of your child really depends on the health of the mother and the diet of the mother. What the mother is putting in her system that's going to affect the child. You know, if you're heavy smoker, heavy caffeine, alcohol, you're doing all kinds of damage to your kids. So I'm kind of glad to hear that you have a focus on nutrition for the potential mother, because that's going to directly affect the child.
Yep, absolutely. And it's not necessarily a class or a drum that we beat every single week we get together, but it's an underlying, it's one of the conversations that we have.
We're going to go to the phones here. You can call in, weigh in with your opinion on this conversation at 515-244-0077. My guest today is Megan. She's with Young Lives. Frank and Megan, we're having a great conversation, and we always love to hear from you. You can send us a text at 515-809-0993. But let's go to the phones where Tim is standing by. Tim, what do you say?
Hey, guys. Hey, Megan.
Hi.
Chris, obviously this is something that's kind of in my sweet spot, my heart. We partner with Young Lives. We love Megan and Clarissa and their gang, and it's I just tuned in. I didn't know that you guys were going to be talking about this today. You had one of my board members on earlier with Mike Damastis. So the whole notion that the church does. I
was going to say, Tim, we just assume that you're always listening and you're going to call in, buddy. So we don't have to notify you about anything.
You didn't invite me. I don't know if I should be hurt or.
No, absolutely not. Absolutely not. Hey, just between you and me, no one else is listening. I didn't know Pastor Michael was going to be here today, so it was a surprise. It was a surprise to me too. Ronald McDonald did not send me a note about that. But anyway, Tim Overland is on the phone. By the way, for those who don't know, he is the executive director of Personhood Iowa. Great organization. We're going to come back. Tim, stick with us, buddy. I know you're going to hang on. And Tim's got some stuff to say. Megan with Young Lives is here. You're listening to The Truth, 99.3 FM. And yes, that is Prince in the background.
Northern Lights Pizza's amazing garlic butter makes amazing breadsticks. Now available in 12-ounce bottles at Northern Lights, Hy-Vee, and Graziano's.
Northern Lights Pizza. I'm Brian Leach, owner of Service Legends, and my position is Chief Talent Officer.
I'm Nicholas Wonderscheid.
I am Bernie Hobbs,
And I'm the service manager.
Marketing Director and Client Relations Manager.
Everything that we do is about ensuring that we exceed your expectations.
Our clients are important to us. 100% satisfaction.
We're not just focused on heating and cooling. That's the easiest part of our job, actually, is fixing furnaces and air conditioners.
Everyone that we come in touch with, we want to improve lives.
Bottom line is, we've got our installation guarantees, 25% energy savings guarantee, comfort guarantee, temperature selection guarantee, property protection guarantee.
100% satisfaction guaranteed. Fixed rate or it's free.
All of those guarantees are backed up with a 100% money back guarantee to hold ourselves accountable to making sure that you get what you're after.
Just fixing the problem today. If they have another problem 5 days down the road, it's still fixed rate or it's free.
We use what's called straightforward pricing. Our technicians are going to give you an exact to-the-penny price on what it's going to take before they move forward with any repair. That way you know what to expect.
It's the same price every day.
No surprises.
If you get off work at 5 o'clock in the afternoon, you come home, you realize that, oh, my furnace is broken. Now you need to call somebody out that night. You shouldn't have to pay more for that.
We're guaranteeing service 24/7.
We run afternoons, evenings, nights, weekends. We're staffed to work that.
Phone rings at 3 in the morning. You'll get one of our representatives answering the phone every time.
We're not sending you out to Timbuktu in some call center. It's our Service Legend team members, our mission control team.
I'll take a call anytime.
And then they answer the phones the same way during the day as they do at night.
It's a great day at your service company. How can we make you smile?
That's the only way to provide true 24-hour service.
When you're able to let somebody actually live in their home safely when they weren't able to do that before, where they don't have to stay up at night and worry about, is the heat going to come back on? Are we going to freeze the pipes? Is the baby in the room next door going to be sick because they got too cold? When you're able to help somebody overcome challenges like that, that's impacting a life. That makes a difference. I get goosebumps thinking about it.
I love the team. I love the people that I work with.
We have fun, but we work hard.
I call them my ambassadors of legendary service. If you could just envision what that is, that's who we're sending to your home.
They literally will call in, pick up the phone and call and say, hey, I want to talk to your manager. And I get on the phone, they're like, that technician that was at my house was the greatest technician ever. That's cool to me.
We want to brighten people's days.
Every person that we have going into the house has gone through an extensive background check.
Drug testing, we have a very thorough interview process that 1 out of 140 people make it through.
If we promise you something, that's what you're going to get, no matter what.
We're here when you need us to protect the safety and comfort of your family.
If you're not happy, we're going to make it right.
If we're willing to put 100% money back guarantee on what we do, what type of work do you think we do?
Give us a call. We're there for you 24/7, 365 days a year.
Enough said.
You used to call me on your cell phone.
You used to bring me flowers.
This is 99.3 FM The Truth, and that is Drake with Hotline Bling is the name of that song. I'm not a DJ. I just play one on the radio. This is Mac's World Live. J. Michael McCoy is out. I'm Chris Roloff filling in for Mac, but this is still Mac's World, and your voice is always welcome. We are talking about life. We are talking about life today. If you've got an opinion about life, you can call us. On the phone is an unexpected guest, which is really not true. I always expect Tim to call. It is Tim Overland. He is the Executive Director of Personhood Iowa. We're going to go to Tim in just a second. I'm also going to introduce Megan, who's still with us. You haven't left.
I haven't. You haven't scared me off.
You were berated by Frank in the break. He was doing what he's not supposed to do. He's continuing the conversation in the break, and you didn't leave, Megan. Thank you.
I lived in the ghetto, dude. I'm good.
you can handle Frank.
I was just trying to catch her up on the first hour she missed.
I was
gotcha.
on Barone Street.
So we're going to go to the phones. You can call in, too. You don't have to be the executive director of any organization to call in. You can just be a regular person like Tim. Hey, Tim, how are you, sir?
I'm doing well. I felt like while you were playing Prince music, you know, there's that song that starts off about life, and that maybe that was.
Yeah, no,
Did you playing that?
you know, trying.
Jeb's young. I know he
That's I Would Die For You, which is an incredible song. And for those of you who don't think that Prince knew anything about Jesus, check out the lyrics to that song, would you?
Yeah.
Anyway, so Tim.
Sorry, I digress.
No, that's okay. Gotta love Prince. All right. So, buddy, what you calling about?
My car's now purple, and it was long before he passed away. But
yes.
So yeah, you know, just and listening to Megan and like I said, I kind of know their mission and you know we've been meeting. There's about 15 or 20 of us groups that have been getting together over the last 5 or 6 months, And it's really kind of neat. One, that's fairly unprecedented from my understanding. And two, it's neat to look at the groups in that room, and we've kind of adopted this term continuum of care. And I actually met Clarissa, who's the executive director of Young Lives, through Ruth Harbor, because they have such a natural partnership together, as a maternity home for some of these young moms who may not have a place to go. And, from the pregnancy center, whether it's through Charlie, the mobile pregnancy unit, to the pregnancy center, to, Ruth Harbor and Young Lives. And I think there's a group, and I think it's spun out. Megan, correct me if I'm wrong, but single parent provision, I think kind of spun.
Yep. Teal Beater. Yep.
Yep. And on, and all of that. And I'm sure Mike, Pastor Damascus probably said this, but all of those things need to be held together by us as the church and believers. Our philosophy at Personhood Iowa is to make all those groups that I was just talking about famous. And I believe that we can and should make sure that all of their needs are met, whether it's spiritual, monetary, volunteers, all of those things. My dream is that they would never have to have a banquet, and unless they want to just have a celebration, because all their needs are met. And since I heard the quote that you talked about, Pastor Mike talking about, he's right. And until we decide that that's going to happen, and we quote unquote eliminate the need for abortion, it's going to continue. And we can do that. There's 5,500 churches in the state of Iowa, roughly, and we'll probably still kill about 4,000 babies this year. So if each one of those churches just took one of those girls under their wing and helped them and nourished them through a program like Young Lives and those type of things, we wouldn't even need the government involved whatsoever.
Tim Overland's on the phone. He is executive director of Personhood Iowa, and I think part of what sparked his conversation, his desire, his need to call in was a comment that I had made about young women finding themselves in the need for an abortion, and that idea. And that language is really the language of the culture. That's where we're at, I think, as a people. Now, Tim, you're pointing out Young Lives is doing a lot to come alongside women who find themselves in those situations. But really, you guys come, as you pointed out, Megan, after they've already decided that they're going to for the most part, keep their child, right?
Occasionally we'll have, very rarely we have that actual conversation about, well, these are your options. And of course we are always pro-life. You can place your child for adoption, you could parent, those really are your options. Or you could have an abortion, but here's what we believe about that. And
what do you say to a mother? Tim, just hang tight with us if you want, or you can hang up, bud, but just hang out, okay? What would you say to a parent who their teenage daughter comes home and she's pregnant? What would you say to that parent? Because I think that's where, to me, the communication we're lost. I think as parents, we don't know what to do.
Yeah. And, my kids are young, so I'm going to say that as a disclaimer. My oldest is 7. But I guess I would say to those parents, one, you haven't failed. Our kids are individuals. Our kids have their own, it's their story. And we aren't going to like some of the choices they make or some of the choices that are made for them sometimes. But our job is to love our kids unconditionally, even in those moments when we might be really disappointed with the choices that they've made. Your job is to love your kids. And so, yes, there are going to be some emotional, difficult conversations centered around this new development. But the best thing you can do for your daughter or your son is convey how much you love them, that this doesn't change how much you love them, that you are not going anywhere, that you are going to stand by them for the rest of their life. The immediate future of the pregnancy and the delivery to their decision about whether or not to place or to parent. And then if they choose to parent, you're going to continue to walk with them and you're going to support them and you are going to love that baby. And you know what? I think it's okay to say, I love you. I need a minute to adjust to this. I love you. I don't want you to hear that I'm mad at you, but I need some time to adjust to this before I can before we can continue
Well,
this
is that
conversation.
also an opportunity to try, I don't want to say talk about birth control, but talk about abstinence and
Well, Frank, at that point, it's kind of a... It's,
well, no.
It's over.
I'm talking about in the future. You know, in other words, don't be, I love this child. That's Jim Dandy, but let's stop having kids out of wedlock and don't be having no more kids unless you're married.
Well,
and
Megan, would
you
you say these teenagers that become pregnant, they're not going, gosh, could this ever happen again if I continue? I think they kind of get, right? I mean, 1 + 1 = 2. They kind of figure that out at this point.
Kids aren't dumb. They're know
not
how
dumb,
it works.
Right.
Yeah.
So what I'm hearing you say, too, is that and we've talked about this before, and I say we, the greater church culture, is we understand that folks are making the choice to have an abortion because a new life in their lives is an inconvenience. And that extends up the chain to mom and dad.
I think too that they're when you're having this conversation, you need to also take into consideration the demographic that you're talking about. I think inconveniences, yes, that's probably a factor in certain demographics.
Is that too small of a word?
No, but I think there are different categories. I think there are other situations where it's more than an inconvenience. It's oh my gosh, what am I going to do? How I can't support myself. How am I going to support another human being? How am I going to keep my job? How am I going to pay my rent if I have another mouth to feed? It really is. It's not always just about an inconvenience or, oh my gosh, what are the neighbors going to think? Often when we're dealing with a demographic that's more on the poverty side of things, it's more about, I cannot support another person. I don't know how I'm going to survive if I have a child that I have to take care of. I mean, that means daycare, that means groceries, that means I won't be at my job every day because there will be days when my kid's sick and I have to take work off and I can't even afford to pay my bills working the hours that I'm working now. So I think sometimes we as the church kind of, gosh, I don't even know how to say this. We as the church sometimes pigeonhole this conversation a little bit, and we maybe throw the blanket of it's just inconvenient, which paints the mother in a very selfish light. And sometimes it is that. Sometimes it isn't, though. And I'm not saying that abortion is okay. I agree that it's not okay. That is a life beginning at conception. But it's bigger than just an inconvenience.
You're listening to 99.3.
From the RE/MAX Real Estate Concept Studios, this is Webcast One Live.
Credit cards are like grandkids. They love you, sometimes get out of control, and it's fun to get a new one. Who can stop them from piling on?
Hi, I'm Tom Coates with Consumer Credit of Des Moines. At the end of the day, you can return the grandkids, but you're stuck paying off bad credit card debt. We'll help you put the fun back into using credit cards responsibly. Right, kids?
Yeah! If you need help getting credit cards off your back, call Consumer Credit of Des Moines.
Rockton Prevention is celebrating 25 years of creating a caring community. We want to say thank you to the tens of thousands of Rock High School mentors that have carried our message of health, love, and encouragement to over 1.5 million children, teachers, and parents. Our mentors teach children methods and skills to prevent bullying and drug use. Thank you to all the school administrators, teachers, and counselors for their opportunity to serve you. Rock on, fair citizens, rock on! This is Pat McManus for Rockton Prevention, the Richard O. Jacobson Foundation, and this station.
Northern Lights Pizza, your home of the tasty crust. Our garlic butter sauce now available in 12-ounce bottles at Northern Lights, Hy-Vee, and Graziano's.
Northern Lights Pizza.
Hi, my name is David Burrier, your Hope Coach. I host a live weekly talk show called I've Been There every Thursday afternoon at 5:30, right here on webcast1live.com, and on my weekly radio program Saturday mornings at 10 on Truth Network 99.3 FM. I interview common, everyday people who have survived incredible life challenges and who testify to God's faithfulness in the midst of their storms. So join me as we bring a message of hope and encouragement. Everybody needs hope. I know, because I've been there.
From the RE/MAX Real Estate Concept Studios, this is Webcast One Live.
do have a call. Good afternoon, 10 minutes before the top of the hour, 5 o'clock, and your weekend is beginning. It's Friday. I hope you guys have a great weekend planned. Hey, look, find a church. Google church. Google Christian church and go to one. Why not? What else are you going to do on Sunday morning?
Not that scary.
Sleep in? I don't know. Anyway, I'll be at one. Megan, will you be at one?
I will. Yeah.
That's awesome. Well, I tell you what, Megan is my guest. She is with Young Lives. We are talking about life, and we're talking about a life of children. We're talking about life of adults. We're talking about the need to care for our community. And there's more music playing. Hey, Tim, I'm going to let you go, okay?
Sure.
All right, goodbye.
Bye, Tim.
Bye, guys.
We've got a call weighing in, so we want to go ahead and go to that phone call. But first, let me let you know how you can chime in on the conversation. We've got about 8 minutes left. We're probably going to wrap up here quickly. Bob is here, Frank is here, Megan is here, Jeb is here. You can call us at 515-244-0077. We do this every day from 4 to 5. Get in early if you'd like to talk to us before we run out of time. We are going to be done here in just a couple of minutes. But let's go to the phones. What's going on there, friend? This is Chaplain Gary. Hey, Gary Moon. How you doing, Gary?
Hey, Chris. Pretty good. Listen, I just wanted to sort of mention something to you. You know, I worked at Broadlawn Hospital for 20 years as a chaplain, and I personally have counseled 2 ladies who had abortions, and they do pay a heavy price psychologically and emotionally. Both of them would wake up in the middle of the night, and they would hear their babies crying. And there's such a connection between the mother and child when they carry that little baby for the 9 months that they're so connected to it, and it does leave psychological problems. And, of course, I was able to talk to them about the Lord and tell them, that God will forgive. And I think both of them eventually found peace. But I just wanted to mention that there is a price that they pay because of the close bond between the mother and the child like that.
Thank you so much, Gary. Always good to hear from you, brother. Have a great weekend.
Okay.
Stay safe, bud. Thanks for calling in. Megan, before we go, I want to make sure that folks that have heard about Young Lives can get involved and learn more.
Mm-hmm.
So really, how do they get in contact with Young Lives with you?
So they can go to our website.
Okay.
We are also on Facebook, Young Lives of Greater Des Moines.
Of Greater Des Moines, okay.
Yep, got to have the Greater Des Moines.
Is that the website as well, or what is the website?
They can just Google Young Lives in Des Moines, and the webpage will come up. I'm sorry, I can't remember.
It's younglife.org.
Well, there you go. And while you're writing that down, I just want to jump on something that last caller said. There's actually a group here in Des Moines called Rachel's Vineyard that is specifically focused on post-abortive care. So they work specifically with women who've had abortions in the past and help them kind of work through that.
Now, you guys, what I heard you say in the last segment is, actually, you said this off the air, where I allowed you to do the things you're not allowed to do and share all the really great stuff when nobody else is listening.
Yeah.
But you talked about the work that you do in caring for young pregnant mothers and as they give birth to their child and help them kind of navigate the early stages and be there for them in their life. And what I heard you say was it costs a lot of money. I think that's kind of what I heard, because I understand that money kind of helps make things turn around these days. And a lot of times people make difficult choices because of lack of funds. So if people want to get involved in Young Lives financially, what's some ways they can do that? Maybe?
Yeah. So let me just give you a brief overview of what Young Lives does on a month-to-month basis.
Okay.
We meet 3 times a month. We meet in Urbandale at a church up there. And we just have fun. We do club. We play games. We eat food. We have a group of amazing volunteers who provide meals. They provide childcare every week. We do some just getting to know you kind of stuff. And then we have a club talk at every group session where we present the gospel. All of the girls who come are entitled to a mentor if they would like, and that mentor commits to getting together with them, be it at club or outside of club once a week, every week. They are given an opportunity to attend camp in the summer. I referenced camp earlier. It is the best week of your life. It's amazing. There's a blob, there's canoes, the food's amazing. The grass is amazing at Young Life Camp. I didn't think that was a thing, but it's a thing. The grass is incredible. It's amazing. So financially, though, it costs about $800 to send a girl and her baby to camp. We take the girls and their babies and mentors to camp on a bus ride to northern Michigan. If you can imagine, that is 10 hours in a bus with 10 babies who are stuck in their car seats. It's a lot of fun. We have a really good time. But it costs $800. So we have a couple fundraisers. We have a 5K coming up on June 25th. I think there are details on our Facebook page and our website. So folks can find those there. The 5K isn't competitive. It's a fun run. Mom, baby, strollers, wear your baby ergo carrier and just have a blast. We have food. We have lots of great prizes. It is $35 to enter. And then there's a kids dash that's, I think, $10 beyond that. But all of that money goes towards young lives. And most of it goes towards camp. So
that's fantastic. I've got another one. Tim messaged me. Can you call me when you're... Oh, this is private. Okay. Anyway. So guys, what do you think about this? What you heard today? What do you think, Frank? What do you think about this Young Lives? You're so angry when it comes to the abortion issue.
I think anything that is out to save life and encourage girls to adopt or whatever besides abortion, I think is great. And I would like to see the government help support those type of things by not saying it's placing undue burden on a girl to hear that kind of message.
Megan, you talked about in the break, the financial hardship of anybody who is find themselves pregnant and they don't plan on it. It's expensive to have a kid, even if you want to. There's a lot of costs. Tell us a little bit about that.
Well, my husband always says you're never going to get to a point where you can afford to have kids, which I think is true. These girls just want to be good moms. And for the most part, they really are. They really are. And they're doing a great job. They love their babies. And I think we have an opportunity to impact more than one generation through Young Lives. So.
Well, Megan, thank you so much for being our guest today.
Thanks for having me. It was fun.
I hope to have you back on.
Absolutely.
I hope to have more conversations about Young Lives in the future. When we think about this issue, I really appreciate what you guys do, where Young Lives falls in this conversation, because you guys are extending the work of the church, extending the work of Christ's gospel, the loving arms of Christ to our community. And that's what we need to be doing for Christ followers. Those of us who claim to follow Jesus Christ, we need to be doing what God has called us to do, and that is to love our neighbor. So if you love people, you like young ladies, you love young ladies, you've been a mom, probably had some experience, this could be a great place for you to get involved. You can reach out to them. I would just Google Young Lives Des Moines. You will find them. If you're on Facebook, start typing Young Lives of Greater Des Moines, and you'll find their page there. Like their page. Check out this fun run coming up. My dad always says there's nothing fun about running, so I don't know why.
I walk. I don't run.
Yeah, there you go. Hey,
unless you're chasing me, then
you can walk. I could do the walk.
That's why it's called the fun run.
It's a fun.
It rhymes. Walk doesn't rhyme.
That's true. That's true. Well, hey, thank you guys so much for being a part of the show today. Mac will be back with us Monday, Lord willing. We'll all be back. Have a great weekend. Find a church this weekend, and I encourage you just to show up and attend it. Megan, you said it very well. It's not all that scary.
It's really not.
It's not really all that scary.
It's not.
Thanks for listening to The Truth, 99.3 FM.